Hey, what's going on, guys? So very happy to report some great news that we finally, here at USA Gundam Store, got some more stock of the Cavico 1/72nd scale little Nacchin tank kits. A lot of you guys may be familiar with the 1/35th scale, the larger scale version from Kotobukiya, which is amazing, but of course it all started with the 1/72nd scale, and I have a few of them here that I've not built or reviewed for you guys. Now, some of these are just color variants, and I'll show you what they are, but there's a version that has some rail guns, and there's a version that has some other different type of like optional equipment and things like that. So these kits come in a variety of different colors and forms, and if you love the Nacchin tank, these little 1/72nd scale kits are really awesome just because they're small, very affordable, and they're just nice, fun little kits to play around with. So I've had these sitting around for a while, but now that we finally got some more in stock, I figure it's a perfect opportunity to take some of these out, build them up, show them to you guys, and then if you're actually interested in buying some, you actually can now that we have some. So I'll put the link down in the video description below, of course, the website where you guys can pick some of these up if you're interested. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the kits. So basically what we've got with these is three different versions. We've got the prototype version in kind of green, and then we've got the Type-07V, which has like cat ears and some other different accessories and stuff in there. I've got that in both the kind of blue, gray, and pink color versions. And then we've got the railgun type, which I've got here in pink and blue, white and black and white. So I'm just going to review one of each type in the prototype version of the kit. That I only have one, so we'll be looking at that one. Just because white is harder to see on camera, we'll take those out, and then since we're looking at the pink and blue version of the railgun type, we'll look at the blue-gray version of the 7V type. So first up, the prototype version. This is like what we've seen now. Kotobukiya has come out with their version of this as well, just in different colors, but it's just the different type shoulders here for this. And then this one also comes with some different weapons and accessories here. If you take a look at the kind of contents of the box here on the back, it shows you like some of the new parts there for the arms and the shoulders right there, and then the new weapons parts, just two different types of guns, and then like a kind of sword weapon. And these are the included display eyes, which unfortunately I believe are still not waterside decals, but pretty fun little options for that, especially like the kind of heart monitor screen right there is pretty cool. And then you have just a plain white one too. But the other cool thing about these is just the way that the runners come, how they come with like all the runners kind of connected together like that. It almost feels like a shame to take these apart because it's such a fun kind of little way to just display it like that. But it looks like we do have stickers for the cameras. If I remember correctly, the original release just had like a piece of paper, but this one does actually have stickers, so that's really cool. And then yeah, as you can see here, it's just 4 runners that are just kind of clipped together. You just kind of have to just pop these apart. Here's the new weapons. They're just molded 1 piece each, so you'll probably will have some mold lines on there, but you don't need to worry about any seam lines, which is nice. And then we've got the runner here, which has the new parts for the shoulders, so you will have a little bit of a seam for like just the front and back half of those shoulder parts. And the other 2 runners here are just going to be the main part for the body, front and back, and then for the legs right there, and then kind of the hip part. So that's it for this one. Let me go ahead and put this together and we'll take a look. The instructions for the kit are actually printed on this card here on the inside of that. That's just it right there. That's it for the instructions. Pretty straightforward. And inside here is some other different variations of the design. Moi-san is on Twitter, and I really recommend you guys should follow him on there because he's always posting these different variations that he makes for the design of the Nacchin, and they're really cool, so I really love those. And here is what the little guy looks like when it's all built up. Now it's going to look very similar to the original kit here, of course, except for just the shoulder is going to be different. So they're quite narrow, but a very familiar shape for Gundam fans. It looks like kind of a very typical kind of Gundam gym type of shoulder on there, but really cool. So you're going to have kind of a little bit of a seam line there on the kind of the side of the lower leg. Obviously some mold lines around here and there. There's the seam between the front and back half of the body. Front and back half of the shoulder right there is kind of hidden away as just a panel line kind of detail there. Overall, there really wouldn't be a whole lot of cleanup required if you're wanting to just build this up as it is and paint it. You may want to make a couple simple modifications just in order to make your life painting it easier if you're planning on airbrushing it, but especially if you're planning on hand painting it, you're not going to have any issue. Now, as for its accessories, first you're going to have a couple of leftover parts that you're not going to use. These are for arms for the original arms that have the big shield on the shoulder. Since we don't have that part included, these arm parts don't really do you any good. Unless you just wanted to have an arm piece there with a ball joint on the top, then really you could kind of put anything that you want on there. So if you only wanted to use maybe one of these shoulders and then one to have something else, you do have that option here with this piece. And then we also have the handle connection piece here for the shield, and the shield is not included, so you don't need that. Here's a look at our actual accessories. You have this shotgun type weapon, this kind of SMG type of gun here, and this kind of sword or like small sword slash large knife, I guess, depending on kind of how you look at it compared to the actual kit. As you can see on the handle of all these, you have these little tabs here on the left and the right side. That's so that you can hold these weapons in the hands. You would think that they would make it so they just kind of just drop down, just slot down into the hand there, but no, they have the tabs, so you will have to do a little bit of disassembly here of the hand in order to get the weapons held in there. That just goes in the hand like so, and if you didn't want to have that so that it's just pointing straight ahead or just straight down at an angle, although you can turn the whole arm there at the shoulder. It's one of the very few points of articulation you have with this. Also kind of you can rotate the tail if you wanted to do that, but that acts as a convenient third leg to help it to stand up. You can articulate the arm at the elbow joint, but you don't just turn it as it is. You kind of have to take it off and then reapply it in a different position. Since we already got the gun in the hand on this side, I'll show you this side instead. But as you can see, it's a very slightly octagonal shape. You could probably turn it, but you're gonna end up kind of disfiguring the plastic there a bit. As it's an octagonal shape, that's kind of how you're meant to use it. You take it off and then put it back on in the position that you want it at. So there we go. If you put that back on there at an angle, you can see it's holding the gun like so, which looks a lot more natural anyway for that. But okay, next up for the railgun type. Now, as I said, we've got this in multiple different color versions. The kit is going to be the same, and even on the back, it's kind of basically the same. You just have it there in different colors. But yes, we'll be taking a look here at the pink and blue variation. As you can see, like with the prototype version, it's got new parts there for the shoulders. In this case, that's where the railguns mount up there onto the shoulders, and also has this big part out the back, which I guess is some sort of like kind of an energy generator there. It's another picture here of the back side of that. And then on the front, it's basically just like kind of a render of the kit there. And as you can see, instead of one set of 4 mini runners, we've got one set of mini runners here for like all the new equipment, and then one set of runners. So we're gonna have 7 runners in total. Looks like no eye stickers included with this one, but what we do have is a couple of these kind of little wires. These are just gonna go right here for connecting that kind of back part to the rail guns right there. Once again, for the instructions, they're printed here on the inside of that card there. And if you take that out on the inside of here, very teeny tiny, there's a little QR code and then some other artwork from Moe-san of some other different variations. One with like a Gatling gun there, kind of like a more armored one, kind of police looking one, bulldozer looking one, just some other variations. I love that submarine version. So those are really cool, just printed here on the bottom, kind of inside of the kind of insert card there. For the first 3 runners, this is going to be the main runner there for the body. Next one is some parts here for the arms and the original shoulder armor, which you will, I guess, not be using here in this case, but you can if you want to, so that's there. And then the same runner there for the legs. Our other set of runners is going to have these pink parts for like the outside of the railguns, these blue parts for the inside with some nice detail there. Some other little parts here in blue, some parts for that, and then kind of the main part for the back part there, also in pink. So a few more parts in this kit here, of course. Let's go ahead and take a look. And here's how this beast is going to look when it's all built up. Now obviously in pink, it's not looking quite so intimidating, and this wire is coming out there. We'll put that back in. The wires are maybe a bit long. You may want to cut those down a little bit, so that's good. At least you have some extra in case you wanted them to be long like that, but I think those could be probably a little bit shorter. They work well enough. As far as any extra parts that you have with this version, you have the shoulder shields. If you wanted to use those, maybe you just wanted like one railgun and then just the shoulder shield on the other side, you can do that. And then you have the tail here as well if you didn't want this big unit here out the back with its own little kickstand here that can turn like that. And say maybe you just wanted the railguns, you didn't want them actually plugged into anything, you can just put the tail there on the back if you prefer. So no other additional handheld weapons or additional even holding hands if you wanted them. But of course, if you have all the other different versions, you have leftover parts or something like that, maybe of course you can kit bash, everything's all compatible, but the rest of the body is all going to be exactly the same. But yeah, I really love the design and the details here of this. You're going to have a little bit of a seam line here on this part sticking up on the top of the rail guns there, and then here on the back, that's how that looks. Again, just really nicely detailed. No seam lines here on this part at all, which is really nice. But it looks good. Right, and then the third version we're going to be taking a look at here is the Type-07V. As you can see, it's got cat ears. It has the same shoulder armor as the prototype, but then it does also come with some more stuff in here. You can see right there on the back is the artwork for that. So it's got a shield. It's got this kind of pickaxe type weapon. There's some of the different variation designs there in the background. here for the artwork on the back of this one. And it looks like inside here we've got 6 mini runners. Let's take those out. And again, if we take out the card here, the instructions are printed there at the bottom. There's a nice full look though at that artwork, which is really cool. And this features the same different artwork as what we saw on the inside of the railgun version as well, as far as the different variants that are shown here. But as for anything else included with the box, it's nothing except for just the 6 runners. So these first 3 should be pretty familiar to you guys. As we can imagine, it's going to be the body, the parts for the arms, and the parts for the legs. The other set of 3 runners is going to have the parts of the arms from the prototype version, so the different shoulders there. And then we've got our 2 new runners here. That's the pickaxe type weapon, the shield, the cat ears part right there, and then this is also the same weapons from the prototype version. It's basically everything from the prototype kit, plus some extra stuff, including parts to make just the regular arms if you want. So this is kind of like the ultimate version to get for having everything available except for the railgun parts. Okay, and then here's this one built up as well. So I went ahead and put the cat ears up there on top. That's easy enough. It's just a piece. It doesn't really even plug into anything. It basically just rests on there, and just due to the tight fit and friction basically is what keeps it on there. The other new part that I forgot to mention here is just the fact that this has open hands. So the original version and the prototype version don't include open hands. But this one does have just those open resting hands like that, which do look quite nice. Otherwise, the rest of the body is all going to be exactly the same as the prototype version, the same shoulders there. But of course, we do also have those shoulder shields. So if you did want to have one of each type, or if you wanted to have this type or this type, whatever you want for the shoulders, you have that option here with these. And while the shotgun, the SMG, and the sword weapons are the same, our different weapons for this one are of course going to be just the shield, which I guess not really a weapon, of course, and then the pickaxe, which is a pretty cool, unique weapon here for this one. It has these 2 little bits right there on the side, and I thought at first that those are just meant to be cut off, but they're actually not. Those act in the same way as a peg, although I don't know why they didn't just use just that regular peg on the side of the handle like they used on the other weapons, but whatever, they have those 2 circles, so you only need one. So you could cut off one and then leave the other. So you have one in the hand, the other one's just going to be sticking out down there. You only need one of them to attach into the hand like that. And then the top part you can rotate as needed if you wanted this part to be facing the front, or you could just turn that around and have the wider end facing the front, something like that if you wanted to. So simple enough. So there's how that little guy is going to look with his cat ears, pickaxe, and shield combo. Again, just a really cool, unique idea. That's one of the things that I love about the Nacchin tank design in general, and its many variations from Moi-san. It's just very creative, so I really like the look of that one. That looks really cool. But anyway, guys, there you have it. There's a look at just a few of the different versions available of the Nacchin tank from Cavico, or the Choi-Pla line. They're obviously not near as fancy as the Kotobukiya version, and they're much smaller and don't really do a whole lot, but they're great little kits if you just love the design, if you want to have some fun hand painting them, or if you want to airbrush them, whatever you might want to do with them, customize them further. If you guys remember, a couple of years back, we had, once these first came out, we had a contest, and you guys came up with a lot of really cool custom designs at that time when we had the Nacchin contest. And some of you will probably remember that I was working on a couple of customs myself that I still have, but no, I'm sure someone is going to ask in the comments, no, I've not finished the couple of custom builds that I was working on, so I'm thinking now I need to dig them out and finish those up at some point, but I do still have them, so I can do that. But anyway, guys, if you are interested in picking up a couple of these for yourself, head over to the link down in the video description below to USA Gundam Store. We've got them in stock now. Not a whole lot, so they're probably not going to last very long, but we were finally able to get some more, which is awesome. So hopefully if you guys have been on the hunt for them, or if you're just seeing them now for the first time and you're saying, wow, that looks cool, I want to pick some up, you actually have the opportunity to do so. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video here today. Hopefully that was interesting for y'all. If you would also like to like and or subscribe while you're here, I greatly appreciate your guys' support. But until next time, hope you guys all have a good day. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.